Since 2010, gamers have happily gone from one generation of gaming to the next, watching the industry evolve and the games around it do so as well. However, not all forward momentum is smooth, not everything is green grass and blue skies, and sometimes things happen, situations present themselves that leave us sitting back with a handful of popcorn watching the drama unfold. While some will certainly be forgotten about eventually and others will forever live in infamy, with every new decade comes a whole host of new blunders, and here's to some of the most beautiful disasters we've witnessed so far. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 9 most embarrassing video game moments of the decade so far. Number 9, everything Konami did at E3 2010. Okay, yes, it's multiple moments in one go, but man, the members of Konami had to be flying pretty damn high back in 2010. Of course, it can't be easy to give a full conference in anything but your native tongue, but holy it featured everything from dancing game designers to masked wrestlers getting on stage to slapping the living hell out of each other's chests. Awkward stares, mistimed demos, and stage lighting, forced audience participation, the immense amount of awkwardness and just plain weirdness going on makes you just as uncomfortable as they were when you watch it. Almost. Number 8, Don Matrick committing career suicide at the Xbox One launch. It goes without saying that the Xbox One launch didn't quite go down as well as Microsoft wanted. But whilst you can file that away under the label of tragic, there wasn't a single person who felt the system's failure more than Don Matrick, then president of interactive entertainment for Microsoft. In an interview with Jeff Keighley, Matrick kind of accidentally recommended the Xbox 360 over the Xbox One, and well, that's just not the best way to sell your brand new system. Not only did he talk down on the fan criticism of an always online console, he talked down on backwards compatibility too, saying that if you're backwards compatible, you're really backwards. 2 months later, Matrick was gone from Microsoft, moving over to Zynga as CEO, and presumably this all came about because of his monumental stumble with the Xbox One reveal. Number 7, Heavy Rain's interactive sex scene. Now, if you're somehow not aware of how Heavy Rain is played, it's an entirely story-driven game where you input certain button combos, stick movements, and even controller movements to play. Sadly, this also applies to the game's sex scene. Aside from the gameplay here being awful, the actual scene was just painful. Animations in no way seemed natural, and characters would kiss, quote-unquote, each other by essentially rubbing their closed-mouth faces against one another. Heavy Rain is a pretty solid detective thriller otherwise, save for Jason. And luckily for anyone that missed it, the game was remastered on the PS4, though that does mean reliving this beautiful disaster of a sex scene in even better graphics. Number 6, Kojima vs Konami. The full Hideo Kojima vs Konami story is too long to put here as twists and turns abounded for over a year, but what we do know is that somewhere down the line, Konami's higher-ups got way more than fed up with Kojima's protracted development of Metal Gear Solid 5. Sadly, everything bled over into the public eye when Konami insisted that Hideo's name be removed from his own game's box art. Stories of Konami's mistreatment of employees then surfaced as everything culminated at the Game Awards. Metal Gear Solid 5 was nominated for 5 awards, and it won 2, yet Kojima just wasn't there, having been forbid to attend by Konami's legal team. Kiefer Sutherland accepted the awards on behalf of Kojima, but host Jeff Keighley followed up with an unrehearsed short speech about how Kojima was barred from the event. To this day, we don't know the specifics of what actually caused the rift, but the fact that these 2 major players of the industry just couldn't get it together, resulting in what many still refer to as an unfinished game, was disappointing to say the least. Number 5, SimCity 2013's broken launch. The start of this generation was truly a magnet for disastrous launches, as never before had we seen so many games fail to work when they were first released. SimCity in 2013 was one of the worst, however, if not the worst. The game's reboot required a network connection just to be able to play and save it, and there was no functioning offline component whatsoever. That means if you couldn't get a connection, hey, f*** you. There was also crashing, disconnects, and losses of save data that plagued those who could get into a game. Yet after 10 updates, yes, 10 specific updates, users were finally able to play the game offline. As recompense, EA did offer early purchasers a free title in 2013 from a very small and select list of games. Still, fans were so unhappy that they filed a petition on the official White House website for an industry-wide return policy for video games that rely on remote servers and DRM to function properly. It's safe to say that people were monumentally pissed off. Number 4, the Gamergate controversy. Remaining one of the most malign messes in gaming history, Gamergate represented both an investigation into the ethics of games journalism and an all-out attack from a very vocal number of people against various different females working in the industry. A blog post by one developer, Zoe Quinn's ex-boyfriend, is what sparked the whole thing, accusing Quinn of entering into a romantic relationship with a gaming journalist for Kotaku, Nathan Grayson, thereby supposing that her game, Depression Quest, received positive coverage in return. But the truth was that Grayson had never reviewed her game for Kotaku at all, and his only article even referring to her was published before the relationship had began. All of this was irrelevant though, because what came next was a whirlwind of hate and drama. Quinn would receive various death threats and constant harassment as the situation became a jumping off point for all the aforementioned ethics and journalism stuff. Unfortunately, she's nowhere near the first or last person to receive this sort of harassment in the games industry. Sadly, just one of the most notable. Number 3, Assassin's Creed Unity's disastrous launch. Assassin's Creed Unity was absolutely broken upon release, even after a delay, and a 40 gig patch was eventually needed to resolve everything, which essentially just deleted and reinstalled the entire entire game on Xbox One. Unfortunately for all the fans that bought the Season Pass, it was revealed that Ubisoft would now be giving away the first major add-on for free, simply as an apology for all of Unity's launch issues. This did nothing but annoy those who had spent money investing in the future of a game that had already spiraled out of control. So, in yet another form of damage control, Ubisoft issued a free game to anyone that had purchased the Season Pass. These games included Watch Dogs, which was already its own smouldering tire fire of downgraded graphics, and Assassin's Creed Black Flag, among a few others. In claiming this free game, however, gamers had given up their right to sue Ubisoft in a class action lawsuit. Yes, really. Number 2, 2011's PlayStation Network outage. The granddaddy of them all, the hacking of the PlayStation Network back in 2011 that caused PSN to be down for a full 23 days and the information of 77 million accounts to be compromised. Between April 17th and April 19th, 2011, PSN was hacked by an outside source which caused Sony to shut the network down on April 20th. A week after the intrusion, Sony issued a statement saying that it could not rule out the possibility of personal information having been stolen. This was already a week after the breach, and in response, Sony issued numerous gifts including 30 days of free PlayStation Plus and games including Infamous and Little Big Planet. Sony has said that the costs of the outage were $171 million, and the breach led to them forcing all users to change their passwords upon signing back into the network. It was a catastrophic security failure on behalf of the company, and one that we won't be forgetting for a very long time. Number 1, absolutely everything to do with Ride to Hell Retribution. Featuring fully clothed, immensely awkward sex scenes, words cannot even begin to describe Ride to Hell's horrific attempt at being edgy. It's potentially so bad it's good, kind of self-aware. I mean, just look at it. Jesus. Ride to Hell Retribution may go down as one of the worst games in history, and if not, it certainly set the bar pretty damn low for the worst game of the decade so far. Riddled with glitches, bugs, and absolutely awful gameplay, everything about it was bad. Absolutely everything. You may think that's a bit excessive, but just go read the reviews. The game holds a solid 19 on Metacritic. 19 out of 100. And that's for damn good reason. And that's our list. Let me know in the comments if there are any other embarrassing moments of the decade that have stuck out to you. I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you soon.